way to know for sure that the light is on the other side is to go to the very core of the darkness, to the depths. So I've been meaning to do this video for, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks, because I put a post on my page. It was like a, quote. And basically it said, when we're about to let go of a really deeply ingrained pattern, when we're about to move through that and let it go in our bodies is when we'll feel the most amount of fear, because being in the unknown, even though we may not hold that pattern in our minds and bodies anymore, is still scarier than being in the known and suffering. And oh my gosh, there was so much engagement on that post. There was so much engagement that I was like, obviously this is something that a lot of people struggle with or are currently struggling with. And so it's something that I really wanted to speak on, because it appears as though it's something that's really present for a lot of people. That, as I say, if you're sincerely, authentically on the path, that these are the processes that you're bound to go through. Like, if you're on the path, you're gonna go through this process of deaths of the self, many deaths of the self. I've heard people say, like, oh God, you're still you're still going through those things. Like, oh God, how much more, do you need to go through? And it's like, if I'm on the path, I expect to have many deaths in this life. And the things that I'm releasing are not just coming from this lifetime. They are coming from not just previous lifetimes for me that I'm carrying in, but fucking generations of my family that is literally coming through my DNA and being seen and released through me. So yeah, if I'm on the path, man, I'm having some deaths. And I had one the other night, and this is why I wanted to do this video, was because this idea that when we're about to let go of something, we're in the most fear. The reason why most people stop and they don't continue to evolve and grow is because the moment that they come up to that precipice of about ready to let go of a deep program or pattern in their body and their mind that's maybe potentially not even theirs, maybe coming from either a previous life or from generational trauma, most people stop at that precipice because that fear wins. The fear becomes so strong that they stop and they turn around and they go back, because they're like, fuck this. It's far too dark and scary. And I've had this in my life many times where I've come up on that precipice. And there's been times where I've come upon that precipice and I turned around and I said, no, like, too much, not gonna go there. Many times. And there's been many times I've come to that precipice and said, okay, I'm gonna jump, because going backwards isn't an option anymore. I know what's back there and I'm tired of that. And that means I'm gonna jump to my death. And literally, you jump to your death, meaning some aspect of your identity neurologically in your brain literally dies. You have cells that die, you have energy ties that die, you have neurological networks in your brain that die. So it is a very real death that you are experiencing, and as I said, it's where most people stop. However, if you can come to that precipice and be willing to go, the only way out is through. The only way out is through. And the only way I can truly face this demon that lives inside of my mind and inside of my body is to move through it, then I guess that's what I have to do. And that's what happened to me the other night. I felt it coming on during the day, and it was such an intense fear. And it started as an illusion of the fear around money. But I knew, I've done enough work on myself to have enough self-awareness to go, I know this doesn't have anything to do with money. And how I knew this was going to be a death process was when I'm in those moments, I am constantly seeking something outside of me to take away the feeling. So I'm trying to find something in some way, shape, or form to take away the feeling that's inside of me, which is quadrant 2. This is our inner child. This is our wounded child. And in that space, this is where addicts live a lot. You are constantly seeking for something outside of you to make you feel better on the inside. And I know it, even though it's very real in my mind and body, I know what's happening. And this was the day that I decided I was on the precipice, and I decided that I was going to jump instead of turn around, because I was just so tired of this pattern and program and this fear, this darkness, this invisible demon that lives in my mind and in my body. I was done with it ruling my life. So I just decided to be with it all day, really to just be with it and experience it, and not run from the fear, not try to hide from it, not try to do whatever I can to distract it away, but really be with it. And this is no small feat. It's incredibly terrifying. And the fear got stronger and stronger and stronger, and quickly disappeared from, the surface level of the fear of money. And quickly that disappeared, and I knew this was something much deeper and much darker. And the fear was so intense, and I didn't even know what, once the illusion of the money thing disappeared, there was no thing that was attached to the fear. It was literally just the fear of going down into the deepest, darkest depths of my psyche, of my body, of the collective darkness. And it was terrifying. And the more I stayed with it all day and the deeper I went, it culminated to me sitting in bed with a meditation on, but more or less the meditation was just for the music, because music is really helpful for me. And it was literally just going headfirst into that darkness and sobbing like I've never sobbed before, coming from the depths of my soul, to thoughts of, wow, am I gonna just go slit my wrists? Truthfully, that dark and that deep, like, am I gonna just go, slit my wrists now? Am I ever going to be able to be out of this darkness, begging God to help me out of the darkness, screaming out loud, I can't do this, because the pain in my body, the deepest, darkest depths of fear and pain in my body, almost felt like it would obliterate me. And I just kept being with it, and I just kept being with it. And I that's all I could do, was be with it. And of course, on the other side, as it started to lift, I could see the light. And the thing that kept me going in it was knowing that through the darkness, through the deepest, darkest depths of whatever, the collective, the ego, whatever, that the light will, because there is nothing else but light. The darkness is just an illusion. And the only way to know for sure that the light is on the other side is to go to the very core of the darkness, to the depths. And I kept having that voice that I have, my teacher, my guru, my guide that doesn't live in a three-dimensional world, that helps me through these processes. And, it reminded me of that through this darkness, through this fear, this incredible amount of fear, the light is right on the other side, but you must go in head first. And I did. And I know a massive, as Michael Singer calls them, thorn was pulled out because of the intensity of it. And man, the freedom that lies on the other side when you're willing to go headfirst into that fear, into that darkness, it is the fear of fear itself, literally. It's like, what's going to happen if I go there? That's what stops us. That's what gets us to that precipice, and then we turn around. And my hope for you is that eventually you stop turning around. My hope for you and for all of us is that we all remember, if we get to that precipice and we jump, that the deepest, darkest depths of where we're willing to go, that the light is on the other side of that, and a deeper knowing, a deeper connection to who we really are is on the other side of that. And that as a collective, to move through some very dense and dark energy, we each individually have to be willing to do this on our own. So if you're out there right now on that precipice, about to let go, this is my encouragement to you to jump. I love you all.